You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's America's Got Talent After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's America's Got Talent After Show.
Hello, adoring fans of AGT. Welcome to another exciting America's Got Talent After Show. I am your host, Emile Ennis Jr. You know, being is for doing, and we're here doing episode, well, actually, I don't know what episode this is, but it's week 14, night 1 and 2. It's the wild card episode. And tonight, I don't have any of my co-hosts. You know, first, AJ leaves me to do So You Think You Can Dance, and then Kieran and Kaori are both on vacation. But, so it's just me, Emile Ennis Jr. here. But I'm joined here tonight with a very special guest. You may have seen him on Big Time Rush or Good Luck Charlie. Had a brain freeze there. Good Luck Charlie. He's also one of the voices in ParaNorman now. His name is Tucker Albrizzi, and we are very happy to have you on the panel tonight.
Thanks for having me.
So we're excited for that, and we'll chat with him later.
Well, that's
terrific. We'll chat with him later about all the exciting things he's doing in his career. But let's start with Act 1 of last night. It was Spencer Horseman. And, you know, each week Spencer comes with something different where he elevates it and takes it to the next level. And I think the cool thing about this episode was the fact that these are all acts that we've seen before, and this was the wild card episode where the judges got to pick who their favorite acts were they wanted to bring back. And I think that made for an exciting episode because you knew there was going to be a certain level of quality in those in this episode where we weren't going to be bored. So did you enjoy the episode overall?
I loved the episode. It didn't keep me bored at any minute.
Did you want to DVR anything?
Yeah, I think I'm recording at home. So.
But did you want to fast forward through it?
Some parts when they're announcing who's going to move on, there's like a 30-second time frame, and it just drives me crazy.
And I get what they're doing. They want to create suspense, but at the same time, you know, we just need to know who won.
There's a level of suspense where it's okay, but then where it draws on too long, it's just crazy.
Well, the first act from last night was Spencer Horseman, and so he's this escape artist, and, you know, he's always trying to take it to the next level, like I said. So last night, what he did was he was padlocked, and he was having his little cage filled with cement as he was trying to unlock himself. And, you know, the good thing about this episode, too, was each person took criticism for what the judges said they messed up before, which is why the judges thought they were eliminated, and they kind of improved on that. So his biggest criticism was when he got eliminated, he didn't show America what he was doing because he was hidden behind like a curtain or something. But this time we literally got to see as the cement poured in, and it was that sense of danger I think kept you watching.
Yeah, it really did. It kept me on my feet.
Because you kind of feel like, I mean, how would you breathe in that, obviously?
No, you got like a time frame where you either have to get out or you drown cement.
Right, and I think the thing that's cool with him is each time you think something's going to happen where something terrible is going to go wrong, he comes out at the exact moment.
Yeah. On his first appearance, I think he had there was a rope burning and a cage of like spikes coming down, and he had to escape while he's being suspensed. He has to escape that before the rope burns and comes crashing down.
And he did it like right at the second.
He jumped out as soon as it was about to close.
And I'm still trying to figure out, do you think, me watching, I still can't figure out, has he been practicing to make sure that he gets it at that right moment just to create suspense, or is he actually doing it just in the nick of time?
Sometimes it looks like he's trying to do it in suspense, but most of the times it looks like he's having trouble with it.
Right.
Because I think he's trying to really put himself in danger to show the people that this is a type of danger that will keep you on your feet. So I think that mainly builds suspense, but it's really challenging that I think that he makes it.
Well, this was Kira's favorite act, and she was really hoping that he came back for wild card. He didn't make it through to the next round. This was Howard's pick. I think it was a great choice for the wild card, obviously for numerous reasons. I was a little disappointed that he didn't make it through, though. He was in the bottom, or in his group of people, it was Todd, Oliver, and Irving, and Christian Sandu, and we'll talk about them later. But I was just surprised that he didn't make it through, because I felt like he had that level, that Vegas level you would want to see and pay for.
Yeah, I think that would be like the type of like the stunt man, I think that's the right word for it, that I would pay to see that.
Right.
And I was really bummed that he left. I didn't leave, but got voted off.
But I still think he has a career.
Yeah,
somebody
that's
has
always,
to hire him.
that's whenever you're doing something and you get it that far, that's always going to offer new doors for opportunities and stuff.
What about all that, the cloggers? Sharon brought them back, and from the beginning I was never really impressed with them. On the last show before they got eliminated, it was a little entertaining, a little more energetic, but at the same time I just don't know if I want to see cloggers, especially not in Vegas.
I wouldn't go to Vegas if I was an adult. I wouldn't go to Vegas and pay money to see cloggers. I mean, that could be an act somewhere else, but not Vegas.
In Tennessee, where they're from, I would expect to see
that
cloggers.
Would work there,
right.
But I wouldn't think in Vegas. What I was what I was bummed about was in that category, there was Jared and Rogers losing it. Yeah, can't pronounce it after today. But I was really bummed. Like, those were the two people that I wanted to go through, but they didn't.
And they were next because with Jared and Raja, they were the magicians who, it was a pianist and magician act. And, you know, from the beginning, they did something interesting each week. And I think one of their first performances, they did an illusion where all of a sudden the whole symphony was behind the curtain and we don't know where they came from. And the very last act before they got eliminated was an act where it was Singing in the Rain and they were in a shower, but they were complaining because even though these girls and models were coming out of nowhere, you could see their feet, and they got eliminated, didn't make it through. But with this act, I still don't know how they pulled it off, because the piano was in this box and he wrote Fragile on there, which, granted, while he was writing Fragile, I'm sure they could have been pulling the piano out. Yeah. But all of a sudden, the pianist is on the other side of the auditorium playing another piano. Yeah, like surrounded by people. Right. And I don't... That's the type of illusion... I cannot pronounce that today. Those are the type of people that I love, where they either bring stuff in from nowhere or they take something out and it's on the other side of the stage. Right. I love those type of people, and I found that, like, just amazing, because, you know, there was a type... like you were saying, writing Fragile on there, that could have been, but I love it how, like, you think he's in there and then it goes up and then it just falls apart. You look around and he's right behind you playing piano, and everybody was surprised. So the thing is, obviously this was one of the people out of all the acts from last night, this is one of the people, or one of the groups that I thought was for sure going to make it, and they didn't. As opposed to all that was in the judges. The judges had to pick between them and Lindsay Norton, and Sharon was the final choice, and she chose all that to go on to the semifinals. I just don't know how I feel about that, because I don't want to see them in the semifinals. I don't think they're going to make it very far. Not doubting them, but... Well, yeah, if you're thinking about a Vegas show and you got you got cloggers and you got a gymnast. Right. I would rather see a clogger group that could actually, like, do stuff. Like I was saying earlier, if their boots had, like, fire protected stuff, the boots they're clogging, like, with the shoes on fire, that could be interesting. But if it's a gymnast just doing flips and jumping on trampolines, that's just the same thing over and over. Unless it's like a group like Cirque du Soleil or something. So, I mean, we'll see. I just don't think that was a wise choice, but at the same time, America didn't vote who they should have voted through, in my opinion. So that's America's fault. And Jake Wesley Rogers came after Jared and Raja, and this was Sharon's choice. He sang Edge of Glory. You know, he has a quirky style. You said that he kind of reminded you of a character on Glee. Yeah. I don't watch Glee. I know you don't watch Glee. But he just has that kind of style where he seems like one of those people on Glee where it's kind of showy, really kind of preppy. He has that style. I still don't know what's going on with his hair, but it's a really cool hairstyle. I've never seen anything like it. But he's a very talented kid. He's 15 years old. Really? He's 15 years old. Wow. And one of the things he said, though, was because of his lack of experience as far as being on stage and stuff, and he doesn't have the years ahead of him that some other artists have had, he thinks it kind of hinders his performance, which I can understand. Nerves can kick in, and one of the things that Howard kept saying was, you're not really connecting with your audience, and that's something he's gonna have to work on. But he's young, and that's the thing with theirs. I mean, you can probably attest to this. Like, even though you're young, you have so many years ahead of you to grow and to get more things ahead of you. And so even though he didn't make it to the next round, he's so talented. I think eventually he has to find a place. Somebody has to give him a chance.
Yeah, because like I was saying earlier, if you get that far, that's gonna open doors. He's gonna get a job. You know, there's no doubt in my mind that he's not.
Especially since this is consistently the #1 show every single week in the ratings. Everybody's watching. I don't know if they're actively watching, but it's at least on their TV. So somebody has to notice this kid. But he's an amazing dude, and he didn't make it through, but I wish the best of luck to him. But I want to talk to you guys for a second. You know, here at AfterBuzz, we take the time each week to talk about our favorite shows and to recap, you know, just make sure that you guys are chatting with us. We would enjoy if you went to iTunes, and, you know, on iTunes, what you can do to help us out is you can subscribe, you can rate, and you can also comment. And what that does is that not only gets us moving up in the ranks on our personal AfterBuzz network, because, you know, we all want to be in the top 10 out of AfterBuzz, but it gets other people noticing on iTunes podcasts and whatnot. But the other important thing is if you could share it with a friend, at least one other person, because if you share it with at least one other person, they could tell somebody else, and then it becomes a viral effect and blah, 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 blah. But seriously, if you do that, that would be great. And also, by sharing with that one other person, you never know, maybe they don't like America's Got Talent, but they could enjoy True Blood or Dance Moms or Honey Boo Boo. We have that now too, I think. We have so many different after shows here. There has to be Scandal,
which you do,
or Scandal. But there's so many different shows that AfterBuzz does. There's no way, if you watch television, there is no way there's not a show here for you. So make sure you go to iTunes, check it out. Also, iTunes has a new podcast app you can download for all your Apple-related devices. With that app, it puts all your podcasts into one neat location, and automatically download, do everything you need to do. You can subscribe there, rate, comment, everything. So check that out. Have that on my iPhone and my iPad and everything. So that would be great if you could do that too. And and make sure you go to our iTunes and rate and comment. That would be great too. So let's talk about the next act. It was Kristen Sandhu, and he's the balancing act dude.
Yeah,
that act is really cool.
That really
awesome.
Was. Yeah.
I don't know how he I still can't quite figure out how he did it, because I can understand a balancing act, but what he does is he puts different cylinders across with so many different elements. Yeah, with so many different elements going on. I just don't see, well, I was going to say I don't see how he can fall, but he's fallen twice now.
He's fallen.
So the last time we saw him before this episode, the reason I think why he got eliminated is because he did fall. Yeah. And there was a lot of disappointment in that. This episode, you know, we were all rooting for him, expecting him to make it through again, and what happened? He fell again. And you know, he added the element of fire this time, so it was something exciting, but no. He fell. And you were saying, I thought it was funny when we were watching the recap, you were saying how it's a lot of pressure, not necessarily on him only, but on the guy who's running the fire.
Yeah, because you have to turn off in the exact minute, or that guy's gonna fall into the fire.
Right, and he was very close to falling in the fire.
Yeah.
And that would have been really bad. And it still could have been bad, because even when he fell off, luckily he made the recovery where he did that acrobatic move, like a roll when he fell. Yeah. Instead, because he could have broken his neck with that fall.
Yeah, he could.
But I guess he's practiced before.
And you can tell he was really angry because he kicked one of the cylinders.
I mean, the thing is, you have to understand, it's an honor to be called back to the wild card show, and
that means they show some interest in you. Right, you're a good person. You're not someone that just
exactly. Yeah. But it's also impressive and honorable to come back after such an embarrassing fall last time and to do it again. And that's, I think, what was so angry, or the anger that was building up inside, was because he fell before and he was like, okay, this is my one chance.
It's your chance to redeem yourself.
And he didn't.
Yeah. So that's just make it or break it there.
Right. But I don't know if there's a career for this, maybe on the streets, like those Hollywood Boulevard or something.
Yeah, but he needs to just practice. He needs to just do it a lot more, so we could do more crazier balancing routines and stuff.
Right. If it would be cool. I don't know how this is possible. It would be cool though if it was, instead of just balancing on that one pillar, if he had like multiple pillars and he could hop from one to the next in balance, but it might be a little too complicated.
Yeah, that would be cool. If he had like a target to go and do something like if you had to get from like one place to another while balancing on this thing and trying to edge its way over there.
Or if you could do like a handstand or something to take it to the next level, even though it's still interesting. And the cool thing about this time was he was trying to do a 360 turn, and he was on there for quite some time. He made it 180 and then he fell to the ground. So he didn't make it through, and that was one of Howie's picks. But like I said, he's a very talented dude. What did you think about Todd, Oliver, and Irving, the ventriloquist dog?
That was cool. I mean, it could, because when I think of Vegas, I think of comedy, magic, and stuff like that. When I think comedy, I think of ventriloquist. That's cool. It brings a new level. It's very funny. Have
you seen anything like that before?
I haven't seen anything with a dog like that. I've seen puppets, but nothing with a dog where, like, I think he had like a fake chin under it. Yeah, no, it's a real chin, but no. Yeah, I found that cool. I don't know if it's going to be a real show. I don't know if the dog could handle that. I'm just saying, because
the thing is, what I did enjoy about this performance was the judges told him last time that what he needed to do was take it to the next level, incorporate maybe some current relevant jokes, something where Americans can identify with it. And he incorporated that this time. He did political jokes, and obviously that's relevant because of the upcoming election. And the first joke he said, which was funny, he said, you know, you can vote for the black guy or the white guy, or you can vote for somebody who's both, because he's a black and white dog. Thanks, guys. I try. But he has a couple of funny jokes in there, and obviously, you know, America, there's a lot of animal lovers. I'm not necessarily an animal lover, but there's a lot of animal lovers, and I think that's one of the reasons why America voted him through. And the fact that the jokes were funny. They were funny.
They're not like just because he has a dog, he's not making it into the finals.
But do you think, now that since we talked about the other two acts that were in his group, he was in the three group whatever with Kristen Sandu and Spencer Horseman. Compared to Kristen Sandu, who did the balancing act, and Spencer Horseman, do you think that America made the right choice picking the ventriloquist?
I would think
Spencer, right?
Yeah, I would think that just brought like the amount of danger that you were on your toes the whole time. The dog, the ventriloquist, he was funny, but he's not show material. I mean, he was great, but I wouldn't see that as
How long would you sit through that in Vegas is the question.
Yeah, see, that's what you have to focus on.
But then another thing is, like, thinking about Spencer, though, how long could that act last, too? Because if he's doing these things in, like, 90 seconds, like, what's next? Even though I know they have a time limit on here, but what could he do where it's constant danger for an hour-long show?
I don't know. There could be some intervals in there where you could prepare one stunt that could take up a bunch of time and then move on to another one.
And maybe if you incorporated some other people.
Yeah, you could have like a whole bunch of thing where you had to get out, then you had to go get another person, and just add that amount of danger in there, too.
I mean,
I think he should have gone on, but that's just my personal opinion.
Honestly, we kept talking about this. I was a little disappointed with the majority of the choices tonight, and I don't know what America was thinking. Obviously, I should have made a couple more votes, but he was one of the guys to go through in addition to all that. And next we had the Band Bass brothers, who I've been impressed with from the beginning because of their level of strength. There's a couple of acts on here who kind of have to do the whole balancing each other or whatever, but these guys, what they did last night was so impressive because first they balanced on each other, but then they had those poles in their mouths, and then they had to align the poles, sync those together,
and then just bounce off each other with the pole. It kind of looked like a knife. I'm not kidding. I know like a knife would be sharp and stuff, like you can't really bounce on each other. Of course a knife is sharp, but it kind of looked like a knife because it had a handle and then a thing, and it kind of had a sharp blade to it. I'm kind of looking.
Well, one of the things that, not you mentioned that, one of the things that is important to bring up is one of the guys actually said that they got this act from their grandfather's cousin, and they're the guys who actually created it, and the cousin died from that act when they were performing it.
That could be. It looks like the top was like flattened a little bit, but if you fall, that still
it would go straight through you. Yeah. So I think that was even though it had a curve to it, so it wouldn't. It was just a dangerous act. It was really
fully dangerous act.
And I enjoyed every bit of it, and that's why I was so disappointed that they didn't go through.
Go on.
And it was just one of those acts where, compared to some of the people that went through, I feel like this should have definitely been above some of the acts that were placed in the top 4.
I forgot his name, but one of the do you remember the archer?
Yes.
Yes, I forgot his name, but
Ben Black.
Yeah, Ben Black. I think he should have gone on. I mean, I liked the Mariachi Man. That was cool. That kid, he was a nice singer, but that brought it. To me, that act really stand out because the act that he did last night, he had a hood over his head and he had to bounce an arrow off of each thing to come back and hit an apple over his head.
Exactly. And here's the thing.
That surpasses like Spencer and all the other people to me.
Because
that's just crazy.
With Ben Black, he was the last performance of last night, and the thing that made it so amazing was first he aligned all the arrows to make sure that he had in a decent enough position where he thought it was going to aim properly. But then he had his assistant put the bag over his head, and the way that he got his arrow right was he had a string where the bell would ring so he could hear where the general area was, and then he would aim towards it. And you know, it was cool because it was so much suspense because we didn't know what was going to happen. Like, he's aiming and those arrows are going to come flying at him, and you don't know if he aimed it properly to where it would actually hit him. And I'm sure it took a lot of practice, but each time he does it, you just never know if it's going to pan out the way it needs to.
Yeah, that had like the most danger tonight, I think.
And he did not go through.
I did not. America's just not making the right votes.
He didn't go through, and I didn't put a lot of notes on anybody, but on his I put awesome. That was amazing. Like, that was the one act where I was clapping. Like, I gauge how I feel about performance after it based on my expression on my face and then what I'm doing. I was actually clapping at the TV because it was so good.
Yeah, that was just amazing.
I really don't know what America
I don't know what happened.
I don't know what they were thinking. I was completely disappointed. He was in the group with Sebastian, and he was in the group with the Bam Bass brothers. And let's talk about Sebastian. So Sebastian is the cute little kid. He's 10 years old. And, you know, he's doing mariachi. From the beginning, I've said he's a cute kid. Yes, he has a great voice. He's very talented. Would you go to Vegas to pay to see mariachi?
No. That's the thing, though.
I mean,
that
obviously,
isn't a Vegas act.
Obviously, I'm not a mariachi listener. When I think mariachi, I think of like Mexican restaurants.
Yeah,
not to be
not to be rude or anything, but that's what you would think of when you think of a mariachi.
And they kind of annoy me, just like when you go to certain Italian restaurants, they have to do with the accordion that won't leave you alone. Like it's just like that. Like, I just don't want to go to Vegas and say, hey, you know, there's this 10-year-old singer who does mariachi.
Yeah. But
at the same time, what he did this particular episode that took it to another level was, instead of just doing mariachi, he's changed it and did mariachi mixed with Frank Sinatra, New York, New York. So yes, I appreciate he added something different, but it still wasn't.
You know, if you tie in that great voice and he can experiment with other types of music instead of mariachi, that might go somewhere. But mariachi, I don't think of a Vegas act.
Yeah. And he's definitely going to have a career, though, because the strength of his voice at such a young age.
Even for like 10 years old or something. That's just amazing.
And he has so much control. And the other thing is, in addition to the strength of his voice, he has so much presence on the stage. He commands the stage. Like, you wouldn't be able to tell that he's 10 years old. He acts like he's 20-something.
Yeah.
Like, he has so much confidence on the stage that I think that's one of the reasons why America voted him through, which I was completely surprised about. I did not expect him to go through at all.
I didn't. I would think Ben Black.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ben Black is who I picked to go through, and America completely surprised me with Sebastian. And, you know, what can you do?
Yeah.
I mean,
he's talking about it. There's nothing we do now.
Like, I was not pleased with the choices.
No, not.
So that was another choice I just was confused about. Now let's talk about one of your favorite contestants from the season, Horse, who I completely don't get. So basically, Horse is this dude who gets kicked in the nuts constantly in different positions all over the stage. And this last episode where he got eliminated, he put on this whole superhero act. But this episode, he just literally stuck to nut shots and his friends with nut shots. And I don't get it. I don't get it.
You know what? I don't get it either. I really don't. It's entertaining.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. No one gets it, though. That's the whole point. No one in the world understands the point of that act. There is no point of that act.
But you said you would pay to see it.
I would pay to see. I would drive to Vegas, if I could drive, but I would fly to Vegas and pay to see that show.
How much would you pay to see this guy get kicked constantly?
I don't want to get ripped off, so I'll just base like the general tickets area.
So what's the highest amount you would pay to see this guy for an hour-long show just getting kicked in the nuts?
100, maybe.
What?
I would. You said max. I'm not saying that's what I would.
Okay,
pay,
what's the minimum? What's the minimum you think that show's worth?
10.
Okay, I'll go with 10. I'll go with 10. That was good. But I definitely would not pay $100.
I wouldn't pay 100. I'm just
Okay.
saying, like, if that's max, and
If he charged 100, you would still go see it.
probably, yeah. If I had that line around, maybe.
God, you and Kira just enjoy this. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
I don't get it.
Was he on the screen?
Yep. There he is.
I don't understand.
I don't understand it either, but
So
it's entertaining.
Okay, so
I don't know how he could withstand that at all. It actually makes me hurt watching it.
Yes.
But the whole point is, I don't know how he could withstand that. Jumping off an 18-foot, I'm guessing it's 18, but it's pretty big on the stage.
Yeah.
An 18-foot, not 18, but a big drop.
Right.
And getting hit like that. I don't know how he could withstand that.
Well, my thing is, I'm confused as to, I already didn't understand the act. I'm confused as to why he was brought back as one of the favorites for the wild card act.
Because America wants to see people jumping off of big jumps and getting hit.
Well, America needs help then, obviously. If this is what America wants to see, then I need to move to another country, because maybe I should cross the border, go to Canada, hang out with the LA Complex crew, because I'm completely confused by Horse. And thank God he did not make it through. But if he did come in the studio, I would gladly take a kick to his nuts. So.
You were saying, like, you wanted to get him, not like want to, but like if he came in, I was thinking like kick.
Right. A nice little kick
That's
here
like
and there.
Nice little kick.
Just to see what happens, just to see, in person. But yeah, he didn't make it through.
He has kids, which I'm surprised
about.
about.
Did he start having the kids before or after he started doing this? That's what I want to know.
Which one do you before?
I don't know. You never know. Because he said he went to this doctor, and the doctor said everything was still okay, which I find that hard to believe.
That's
now you're getting tennis balls shot at you at 90 miles an hour. But
ow.
Yeah, I don't think he has a career with this. I don't know how far well, actually, maybe. Because like you said, on this show, once you get to a certain level and you reach that certain plateau of fame with all the people watching, there's an audience somewhere. So somebody's going to pay him to get, perfect. Horace, let me be your manager. I would take you around to colleges. Because like in my college, when we first started, we had like this, as all the freshmen or whatever, it was this corny thing, and they always brought some corny act like we had a hypnotist for a freshman night or whatever. But I would much rather, in that situation, I would much rather see Horace. So there we go. Instead of a hypnotist, I want to see you, Horace, get kicked in the nuts. All right. Well, that's settled. So let's move on to Lindsay Norton, who's the acrobatic dancer. And from the beginning, I've said, as far as her act goes, she is absolutely amazing. She's flexible. She does things with her for such a young age. She's very precise. But especially with the Olympics being on these past couple of weeks, it reminded me of something.
Right. It would be something in the
Olympics.
I wouldn't go after America's Got Talent. I'm sure that's a great way to get your name out there. That could open some doors. But I wouldn't go after the Vegas show. I wouldn't say that it's your dream. I mean, it might be her dream, but I would much target a different type of thing instead of a Vegas show.
I mean, she could definitely try for the Olympics, or even, but being on this show, I feel like maybe there's a dance troupe or something that's going to notice her. The problem with her act, and with a lot of the acts where it's completely focused on them, this is a humongous stage. Unless you have such a powerful performance,
and it's only you need to get some background people in there, because it's only her on that big stage, like you were saying. It's just crazy.
It's hard to retain focus on just her. Like, just even though she had the sparkly outfit, she had like fire in the background and everything.
Yeah, it's still not enough though.
Because all she's doing is she's just doing
cartwheels.
Yeah, cartwheels and nice flexible poses and stuff. And yes, it was beautiful. Yes, it was interesting, but
it's not enough.
We need to see more.
Yeah, you need more to that.
It's nothing she could really do unless she added other people or some type of dramatic
element.
Exactly. Maybe
add some platform.
Exactly. We're on the same page. Maybe she got to a platform and then flipped off and did some big.
That's what you need to get. Instead of just having a flat stage with fire in the background, stuff like that, add in some objects. Add in something interesting.
Right. Or have the fire and let there be gasoline around you, and you have to avoid the gasoline or you'll get burned.
Get a somersault through the gasoline.
Exactly. Do a nice little roll. Okay. But she didn't make it through. She was actually, I was surprised about this. It was between Lindsay Norton, losing my focus.
Jared and Roger.
Lindsay Norton, Jared and Raja, and all that. Those are the three. And so I was completely surprised that Jared and Raja didn't even make it to the judges' picks, because that meant that they didn't make it to the top 5.
But that was amazing, though. I don't know what America's thinking.
Like I said, if
piano disappearing from one room to the other, or the same room, but distance, it's amazing.
America obviously enjoyed Horse, so clearly America has no... I mean, I'm just saying.
No idea what's going on.
So obviously they weren't going to vote through like quality acts, but I just didn't understand how it was down to Lindsay Norton and all that, the cloggers, as opposed to who made it through. I don't know. And she was like I said, she was a great dancer, but I don't think that is right for Vegas, and that's ultimately why I think she didn't make it through to this next semifinal round.
Yeah.
And even though I'm disappointed that all that made it through, I don't think that she was appropriate to go through either. Neither one of them, but definitely not her.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So let's talk about the last person, though, Andrew De Leon, who is has the weird eyes.
Eyes are that's just awesome. I just had to say that. I want those contexts.
He's this talented singer who has a pretty sad story.
Yeah, he does. He's
a very sad sob story. I'm not one for sob stories, but his story is pretty amazing. And the sad thing was, when he got eliminated, the reason why he got eliminated is because he basically flatlined and choked on his last performance. And so I was extremely excited to see him come back and kind of redeem himself. And he did a version of Unbreak My Heart, and it was opera style, and it was beautiful, and his voice is so clear.
His voice is amazing.
And he has so much presence on stage too. That's the thing, like the difference between him and a lot of singers is he knows how to own the stage, and he doesn't just let the song speak for itself. He knows how to command the song, command the audience, and make that engaging connection. Mm-hmm. So maybe it's the context too.
Maybe that's the context.
But and then even with his funny outfits, like he's out there.
Yeah,
he's out there. And one of the judges said that he reminded him of a cross between Marilyn Manson and Adam Lambert, and I think it was Howie. That was a really funny joke, because once he said that, he kind of does. Like,
it actually really resembles him. I didn't know that was. I thought he was on, but it's not.
No, it's Kristen. But yeah, so I'm extremely excited. This was literally the only act out of all these acts that I chose to go through. Every other act is not somebody I chose, and I'm normally good at this stuff. I normally get them all right, except for maybe one. Not to boast or anything, but what was America thinking? Like, to only get one of my picks through, something's wrong. Maybe I need to have a wild card show and have them come on to AfterBuzz, and then I'll pick who I want, and then we'll do a little web series with those people, and I'll get some money from it. So let's make that happen.
All right.
That'll be our show. Okay. But I'm excited to see who or what the people who were chosen are going to do to elevate it to the next level, because honestly, with some of the acts that they chose, I really don't see them taking it to the next level in the semifinal round, and they're going to go pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But now I want to talk about not just as far as the wild card acts go, but overall throughout the whole season, who are your favorites?
I forgot his name again. I always forget everyone's name.
Harp dude?
Yep.
William Close.
William Close. I loved him. He interact the stage, he interact people, and he tied in an instrument that no one's ever seen before. And I just find that completely stunning.
And we're on the same page, because with the whole William Close thing, the thing that is so amazing about this is not only the fact that he built the instrument, it's the fact that he built the instrument and his house like burnt down or something, so he had to rebuild it. But then it's the fact that this instrument goes across the stage, so where when you're sitting, I'm just imagining, but when you're sitting in whatever setting he has, just imagine like the sound like surrounding you, as opposed to just a normal instrument on stage. Like, it's all around you, because it literally goes across the audience. And it's breathtaking. I think with his last performance too, he even added like a singer and drums and stuff. Like, there's so much potential with that.
Yeah.
And especially in Vegas, he can do like popular songs. He can do like classical. There's so much potential.
Yeah, you can tie in so many things with that.
Dancing. Like, there's so many things. Maybe he should hire Lindsay Norton to be one of his dancers.
And walk on the little wires.
We have it down. So who else would you say? I think one of my favorites besides them, I hate to say it, but what's his name? Jacob Williams. He's a comedian. He's this comedian. He's like this shy dude, and he kind of plays off that. He's really shy, but it kind of works for him. It's kind of quirky. I didn't think I would like a comedian, though. I think that's why it's surprising for me, because I laugh at his jokes every single time. But who else do you like?
Trying to think of other people that I know from this season. My main one. Thank you. I would have to say William Close. I mean, he's my overall favorite.
So you want him to win?
I do.
So we are on the exact same page. I've said from the beginning, this is who I want to win. I mean, obviously I couldn't say it from the beginning until I saw all of them. But once I saw all of them, he's still my #1 choice for who I want to win. Oh, what about David Garibaldi in the CMYKs, the guy who does like the paintings? Like he just splashes paint and all of a sudden it turns into his...
That was cool. They had something like that last season that I saw. He's cool. He's good. Not a Vegas act, though.
Really?
I find it like, that's cool. You could paint. You could do that. It's really amazing. I find that really cool. I'm not saying that he's a bad person, like, doing... I'm not a bad person. But, I just don't think I could sit in an hour show watching him... Oh, he's painting something now.
But you could sit through Horse?
I could sit through Horse, but I can't sit through that.
Okay, let me throw another one at you. What about the dude who paints in the sand or does the sand art?
That's cool. Yeah, I think.
Would you sit through that? Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Just because it's something I don't think I've seen anything like that before. It just reminds me of when I used to play with sand art as a child. Yeah. And I used to make anyway, we won't go there. But those are my 3 favorites so far. David Garibaldi and CMYKs, William Close, and then the sand art dude.
Yeah, sand art dude. That's his name now.
AKA Sad. But I'm excited with this season. This was definitely an exciting episode, and I'm excited to see what we're gonna get in the semifinals. Oh, another one, Turf. That was AJ's favorite when he was here. What do you think about Turf? The contortionist, the black dude.
Yeah, he's
Would you pay to see that?
No, it kind of grosses me out a little bit.
But Horse doesn't.
No,
I can't
it
get over
doesn't,
Horse
because you're seeing his joints coming out of its sockets.
Exactly.
What is entertaining about that?
What's entertaining about getting kicked in the nuts?
Everything. Okay, I don't know. It's the gross thing is like he's getting his arm and he's putting it around like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just really, some parts it's okay, some parts it's really cool, but when he just gets his arm and like just pops it out of its socket, it just makes me want to puke.
Okay.
He's good.
Right.
But some parts it's gross. Right. I'm just saying.
All right. Well, we have a lot of acts to see in the semifinals. So I'm excited to see who's coming. But now I want to talk more about you. So, like I said, you've been on. I looked at your IMDb page. Like for 12 years old, you've been in a lot of stuff, dude. Accomplished actor already. Big Time Rush and Good Luck Charlie are obviously some of your bigger roles.
Yeah.
What is it like to be a Disney star and a Nickelodeon star?
It's fun. I mean, I love working with them. Everyone's great there, and it's just so much fun.
Yeah. So far, on those 2 shows, who has been the most, or who is the most excited person for you to work with?
On Big Time Rush, one of the boys, Carlos, he reminds me of my brother, so he's fun to work with. Like, right before we're about to film a scene, he'll come up to me and, like, he'll mess up my hair and a bunch of stuff just to, like, mess with me. He reminds me of my older brother, so it's fun to work with him. Yeah. And then one of the things that we want to talk about, obviously, this past weekend, your new movie, ParaNorman, was released. And it's a stop-motion animated film. Yep. And, you know, there's been a lot of buzz about it. Obviously, we see the ads all over LA, I'm sure, all over the country. But there's been a lot of buzz. And I checked Rotten Tomatoes today. It's at 88%, which is really good for Rotten Tomatoes, because they can be cruel. So, obviously, the critics are loving it. Tell us more about the movie, though. Well, ParaNorman is about this kid named Norman, who's kind of an outcast. He can see and talk to ghosts. And in that movie, I play Neil, who's Norman's only friend. And he finds it cool that he could talk to ghosts. And Norman, in the end, has to save the town from an old witch's curse. Interesting. So, as far as the audience goes, is this a film that can be catered towards kids and for older people as well? They tie in some funny jokes. It goes to kids and people. Coraline fans were kind of disappointed in it, but do you know, like, Coraline? They're disappointed because they thought it was going to be another Coraline. They thought it was going to be that same kind of weirdness and scariness in it, but no, it was mainly towards kids. And they tie in some adult humor in there and some not. But I think it's going to attract all ages. So if I took my niece, who's
6 or 7, maybe. Anyway, if I took my niece to the movie, would she be scared?
6 or 7. Not really.
Okay.
Not really. There's just like one thing where it shocks one thing.
But she wouldn't have like nightmares or anything.
No.
So what was it like, because obviously you do a lot of work in front of the camera, what was it like to do voice acting for a movie?
I like doing voice acting. The main reason I like doing voice acting is because like I can go in there in like my sweatpants early in the morning because they don't care what you look like.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be like camera ready and stuff like that. But one of the hardest things about it is you don't have anyone else to judge off of. It's only you in there. So it's basically up to you to make it or break it.
Yeah. So there's like no feedback, it's just you in a booth?
Yeah, it's you in a booth. If you do something wrong, they'll kind of tweak you in the right direction and say, great, how about try it more enthusiastic about it? You know, that's what they'll basically do.
Yeah. And then, is there anybody on the film that you were excited to work with that you were looking forward to?
You actually, most of the time, I mainly did solo things. Like, it mainly do solo recordings, but one time I actually got to work with Cody Smith McPhee.
Nice.
And that was a really fun scene. It was like when we were playing with our dog and my dog, and it was just kind of mostly improv. We just had fun with it.
So, okay, so as far as the voice acting thing goes, now I'm intrigued. So when you're doing your lines, it's literally like you do your lines separately and then they just cut it all together? Yeah,
basically you're in a room, you got a little booth stand, you got but actually behind you, like what it would be a huge glass thing with lines with cardboard pages behind them so it's standing up straight. Stack about that big. Yeah, it's pretty huge. Really huge. It was fun. So basically they'll tell you do page 148.
Yeah.
Whole page 148. Put it on there. You would read your lines one at a time. They would say, you know, great, do like this now. Great, how about that? You know, and
while you're reading your lines, do they have somebody reading the other person back to you?
Yeah, they would have one of their people in there just reading the other lines, pretending to be there, so you could kind of get a feel when to go, when to not to go, and stuff like that.
Right. It's pretty cool, man. Well, I'm gonna have to check the movie out hopefully this weekend. So tell me, as far as
I got a question for you.
Oh, go ahead.
Especially with you know, like these kind of movies, do you ever, when you watch it, you're like, wait, because when you're actually acting in the movie, it's also your physical presence, and so now with your voice, you kind of also envision a certain performance, right? Now, when you finally see the movie, or maybe you saw some portions of the movie, you're like, wait, that's not how I would like actually act in the movie when I was thinking that or whatever. Like, do you ever tell them like, hey, you know what, can you guys do this with the character because that would be cool? Or do you get any of that direction?
No, you can't really judge like what the character would do, just mainly what you just do the voice and how the character would do it. You don't say, oh, well, I would do that in that, but it's basically what the character would do and stuff.
Now, not even. I have another question. As far as like seeing after, did they design your character before or after?
Before. That was.
He looks similar to you.
Yeah, they do. He does, but they do. He does, but that was their idea sketch for him. They made that before they heard or even saw me.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it was really cool.
So you guys look very similar. That's cool, man. So tell me, as far as overall, because I know I asked you about as far as working on Big Time Rush and Good Luck Charlie, overall, who would be your dream actor or actress to work with?
Probably like Jonah Hill, Jack Black, Robert Downey Jr. Those three guys are my idols. I love them. Jack Black, Jonah Hill, they're really funny. So is Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
They're hysterical, and I love them.
Okay, another question for you. Since this is AfterBuzz TV and we do all these after shows, obviously if Big Time Rush or Good Luck Charlie, any other show you've been on is your favorite, you can say that. But honestly, what is your all-time favorite show, period?
Family Guy, probably. I like Family. Why? Like, do you not like that show? You kind of went like,
no, I love that show.
Oh, I thought your face like put it off like, oh.
No, but Family Guy?
Yeah, I like Family Guy. It's funny. Seth MacFarlane has really good writing in that, and I like it. And I like how Seth MacFarlane does voice of Peter, Stewie, and I think Brian. And I find that really cool.
Do we do a Family Guy after show?
It's a little bit tough to do one for comedies, but we should, you know. Well, we were very close. Like Maria, our network executive, she's very close friends with Seth MacFarlane. In fact, she's with him in London. right now for another movie that I think he's doing.
Nice.
So follow up for Ted.
Nice. Have you seen Ted?
No.
It's really good. Really
But,
good. A little inappropriate, but it's really good.
Probably my favorite show right now is probably Doctor Who.
Nice.
I like Doctor Who.
I like your style, kid. I like your style. So another question. What do you have coming up? What can we expect to see?
I've been doing episodes of Good Luck Charlie, Big Time Rush. Just had ParaNorman come out, and I filmed a pilot for Disney XD, so we're waiting to hear about that.
Okay. And when do you think you'll hear?
Probably soon, like any day now.
Okay. And then you were telling us, talking before, you recently had to do something awards. Tell me about that.
I had to do something awards. I walked the red carpet. I did that stuff, but I actually was an internet media correspondent. Yeah. But yeah, I was a correspondent for them. So I went there and I interviewed people on the red carpet and I helped out do something person, Calvin, I think.
Okay.
So I just helped him out and did interview people.
And you were telling me about what your brother was doing?
Yeah, my brother is well, I'll start long story short. My brother had leukemia, and he's all better now. But he started a charity called Driving for Donors, and that basically was we go around that basically is that we go around the country, sign people up to the marrow donor list, and we saved about 35 lives so far.
Nice. And what's it called?
Driving for Donors.
Driving for Donors. Is that the website too?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I have to check that out. But yeah, man, it's been a great season of AGT, and we're so excited that you were here today. But now we want to get into some predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
My first prediction is that the majority of the people who made it through tonight will not last past whatever episode they're on the semifinals. But obviously, we both predict that our number one guy, William Close, is going to make it through.
Yeah, and that actually kind of scared me a bit because I was not expecting that, and I heard like
the music.
Yeah, I was not expecting that. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, we just entered the Twilight Zone.
Nice.
You know the Twilight Zone?
I do. I haven't watched any episodes, but I know it.
You know
I think Doctor Who is kind of more confusing than Inception. I don't know why I brought that up, and it kind of reminds me of the Twilight Zone.
Nice.
Because like there's different dimensions or weird stuff.
Yeah. It works. It works.
And I get really confused most of the time.
I recently saw Inception like a couple of weeks ago. I hate to say that. I didn't see it when it first came out. And, I had a nightmare about that. I was really mind blown. Anyway, moving back to the predictions though. But yeah, I don't think the only person I think is going to make it far from the acts that made it through tonight is Andrew De Leon. Because I feel like he makes a connection. Your mom was saying though, as far as Sebastian goes, there's a big connection as far as because maybe there's a lot of, I would say there's probably a lot of mothers who watch this show. Mm-hmm. This show appeals to a lot of people. I just don't know if it appeals a lot to the younger demographic. Yeah,
kind of. It appeals to, I guess, all ages. Like my friends kind of watch it, but
kind of though.
Kind of.
Not. So are they voting though? Are they voting though?
I don't think so.
Exactly.
I vote though.
But the majority of people are voting. They're probably
mainly
like
casted to an older audience.
Right. And so they see this cute little kid and they're like, oh my God, he has to make it through. Like, we don't want to crush his dreams.
I think, I think that's mainly it. But I think that Sebastian, I mean, he's a great singer. He's wonderful. He's great for his age. But I think he's gotten through a lot on his cuteness, you know? You know what I'm kind of talking about?
I get what you're saying. You're saying. So what about all that, though?
They're great. They're great. Is there cloggers or... Is that that's it, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're on. Oh, perfect timing.
Yeah. But they're great. I mean, are they tap dancers, cloggers?
I mean, I don't really know they're clogging. I don't really know the difference. Though.
I don't know. They're tapping their feet on the ground.
Right. Same. In unison.
I'll call them cloggers for now. Till someone on this comments like, no, they're tap dancers. And like, whatever. But I'll call them cloggers. But they're really great. They're great cloggers. I mean. Or dancers, people. They're great dancers, and I think they're gonna go far. Yeah.
And then the last person who made it through tonight, Todd, Oliver, and Irving. I still think, even though they weren't my favorite, I still think they have a chance because there's a lot of animal lovers. But what about this group? I forgot to ask you, the Lottie Dogs. Remember the dogs that flip?
Yes, I love those dogs.
Is that one of your favorites?
That is actually one of my favorites now that I totally forgot about them, but they're my favorite, so that totally works out somehow.
So since that's one of the only other animal acts, how do you think they would compare to Todd, Oliver, and Irving? I don't think Todd, Oliver, and Irving stand a chance compared to them.
Not compared to them, because dogs are doing freaking black flips. That's so amazing. Have you seen a dog do a back flip?
No.
No, I don't think anyone has seen a dog do a backflip.
Numerous times. I would pay for that.
I would pay for that as well.
But I would not pay for horse. All right. Well, let us know where we can find you.
All right. You can find me on Twitter at Tucker Albrizzi and Tucker Albrizzi on Facebook.
And spell that for them.
TuckerAlbrizzi, and check out TuckerAlbrizzi.com as well.
And also, guys, if you're not busy this weekend or even tonight, well, I guess it's too late tonight, but tomorrow or whenever you're free, make sure you go check out ParaNorman and everything else that my good friend Tucker over here is in. If you want to follow me, you can follow me at Emile E Jr. and ChasingLA.com. And next week, my beautiful co-host will be back to help and not leave me stranded here alone. That's it. I'm done.
Was it really that bad?
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.